employees, or affiliates.
Welcome to Soccer in 60, presented by the Empire Strikers. Get ready for your weekly look at all the pro soccer teams in Greater Los Angeles. We've got all the news and analysis you need, from LAFC and the LA Galaxy to the Empire Strikers, Angel City FC, and Orange County Soccer Club. Now, buckle up and enjoy Soccer in 60.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome to Soccer in 60. Whether you're streaming us live on the internet or listening to us on KMET radio here in the Inland Empire, all the way from San Diego to Palm Springs, all the way to Corona. Welcome to Soccer in 60. I'm your host, Tim Kolotz. Normally we have my companion and co-host, Philly, but Philly is under the weather today after doing a heck of a job down in Mexico. So I'm flying solo today, but it's going to be a rip-roaring good time. We're going to be talking about LAFC, trying to go through a complete and unbeaten April. We're going to get after LA Galaxy and their game with Austin FC, Los Listos, and we'll get into what that means here in a few minutes. We're going to talk about Angel City and their scruffle with the Kansas City Current. And then we're going to get into the MASL playoffs that concluded this weekend with the Ron Newman Cup finals. And then we're going to talk about Orange County Soccer Club and see if they can get back to their winning ways. And then I got a really fun kind of side blurb about why it's called the Ron Newman Cup. So as we've got a couple of our guests on, we're going to have Quentin Swift of the Empire Strikers. And as a direct analyst and being a legend of the indoor soccer game himself, we're going to have on Paul Wright coming in and just talking about the MASL playoffs and how much different they headed out from the regular season. There was an expectation that it was going to be an all Mexico final. And while we did have one team from Mexico in the final, the Kansas City Comets coming out of the other side to go up against the Chihuahua Savage was kind of unexpected, which made the playoffs super fun. So let's dive right in. Let's get after it and let's have some fun today. So we'll start off with LAFC, and LAFC came into the game 3-3-3, and they were coming in against those pesky Portland Timbers, who were 2-3-4, and the game started out really well for LAFC. You know, the home crowd at BMO was absolutely on fire. They were getting after their team really early, really supporting them, screaming and yelling, and it was super fun to watch. And a hard charging corner in the 8th minute is followed by the 2023 Golden Boot winner, Denis Bouanga, with a clean chip over the keeper, reminiscent of Claire Emsley's chip over the keeper last week. And it's 1-0 LAFC right off the hop. Oh, whoopsies. Maybe not. Right at half field where Tillman passed the ball through to get it to Denis Bouanga. Tillman, yeah, he kind of used his hand a little bit, and VAR pulled that goal back after a couple of minute delay. And what kills me, and here's a little bit of a side thing from being a referee, the referee was in perfect, and I mean perfect position. He was no further away than about 10 feet from Tillman, had a perfect angle of him handling the ball because it was clear that Tillman's arm was outside away from his body. He hit it with the inside of his left forearm. It went right down to his feet, and then he proceeds to dribble on and then makes that beautiful pass to Bouanga. What is bugging me a lot about these referees, and it happens in indoor as well, is the referees I think they're kind of scared to call that right away. We see it a lot of time on offside, and it's going to end up hurting somebody. If you make that call right away, right or wrong, have that command presence, Mr. Referee, to make that call, make it on the spot, and then be dead on about it. Because if you make that on the spot, now you don't have something like that where there's a potential danger, because as Denis Bouanga went on the keeper, he does in fact kind of trip over the keeper and has to hop over them to avoid injury or avoid hitting the keeper. So things like that, I think if the referees were a little bit sharper on that call, a little bit faster on that whistle, I think it'd actually be better for the game. But that's my humble opinion. You know what? Didn't matter though, because 20 minutes later, uh, the Denis Bouanga is racing down the left hand side and puts in a beautiful cross, and it goes right to the Timber defender Kamal Miller, who puts a beauty of a shot right past his own goalkeeper inside the far post for an own goal. So while Denny doesn't get credit on the goal, he should, and now it's 1-0 LAFC. So, you know, those types of things, Bowanga and uh Mateus and Tillman, the guys are all the stars are being stars in this game so far. It is just fantastic. Um, as we're getting into the game, in first half stoppage time, Christian Oliveira is doing a little Uruguay shuffle as he lays the balls off to Tillman. And the cool part of this before the goal, let me back up a second. As Oliveira is bringing down the ball, on the right-hand side, um, Mateus Bogus is, he's playing a perfect false nine. He's not the leader. He's not the one that's always going to get the ball. He's not that Cristiano Ronaldo who's always going to get that ball, and he's the leader of that, and he's the one that's supposed to score 40 goals a season. Mateus Bogus does something brilliant. He holds back and he moves to the center of the field. That allows Oliveira to push down that right-hand side, gets about halfway into the penalty area, and then starts to pull back, does a little bit of shuffle, and he lays a perfect ball off to Tillman, and he clangs it right off the far post. And I'm telling you, the post this week, we're being very nice to both teams. Clangs it off the far pine tree and into the back of the net for his fourth goal of the season. And Timothy Tillman has already matched his 4 goals in only 10 games this season that he had in all 20 games of last season. The guy is really, really coming into his own, and with the amount of playing time he's getting, Timothy Tillman is just having a fantastic season. We get into the second half, we go into the first half, we go into halftime at 2-0, right? LAFC is up, they're playing really strong. Well, as luck would have it, these Portland Timbers, they start chopping away, they start chopping back, and in the 65th minute, off of a high ball that goes to Jonathan Rodriguez, and this, I know it's the other team, but Jonathan Rodriguez plays a beautiful chest right to himself, puts it right to his feet, burning Atuesta on the defense because Atuesta is looking at the ball, and Rodriguez just puts it right in front of him. And on the half volley, he again also catches the woodwork, and it bounds past Hugo Lloris, and suddenly it's 2-1, and it's a ball game. 10 minutes later, after a failed clearance, goes to Santiago Moreno, and he drills a shot from 20 yards out, takes a deflection off the defense. He gets credit for the goal because it's a deflection versus in the first half with Boganga, it's a direct shot in. And then magically, here we are, 20 minutes in, 25 minutes into the second half, and we're tied up 2-2. And this is a ball game. Watching this game on TV was fantastic. While it wasn't as good as being in the stadium, you could feel the energy between these two teams. And here's the thing. In the second half, Diego Chara for the Portland Timbers, who was playing in his 377th game in a Portland Timbers uniform, which is an MLS record, new record for number of games playing in one jersey. It's just amazing. So hats off to Diego. But within 5 minutes, he collects 2 yellow cards. Well, 2 yellow cards mean 1 red, and off he goes. So now Portland is playing down a man for the rest of the game. And this is going to come to haunt them because in stoppage time, there's a corner. LAFC now leads the league in corners taken. They are way ahead of most other teams in the league by taking the number of corners, which means they're pressing. Defense is kicking that ball out or it's deflecting that ball out. So they're getting corners. These set pieces are a killer for most of the teams that LAFC is playing against. And sure enough, in 90 plus 2, a ripper header that is saved by Maxime Crepeau falls out to guess who? Mr. Mr. Bawanga. And he again hammers one off, this time Casper the Friendly Post, and it's in the back of the net. LAFC is up 3-2. They get a stoppage time winner, and they go on to win the game 3-2 and beat those Portland Timbers. Just a fantastic game from start to finish. Lots of action, lots of excitement. And outside of that one effort by the referee early in the game was actually a very clean game, very well refereed, and it was really fun to watch both from, a fan perspective, but also as a former referee perspective. LAFC's next game is at San Jose this weekend. It's at Levi Stadium. It's at 4:30, and it's free on Apple TV. So you don't have to have the MLS package. You're good to go on that. If you can just get that Apple Plus TV app on your TV, you can see it in the big screen. And that is just one of our local teams' away games this entire weekend. So nobody is playing at home this weekend until next Tuesday. And we'll get to the next Tuesday game for the local teams here in just a few minutes. So with that, we're going to move on to the LA Galaxy. And the LA Galaxy were playing, and I mentioned at the top of the show that they're playing Austin FC, Los Listos. And what that means is that they're ready. And these Austin FC comes to play every game and they bring it right away. And in the first half, they were bringing it. And one of the things that was cool is that Miguel Berry is making only his second start for the LA Galaxy. He's playing up front, he's getting some playing time, and he's ready to go. But we're 7 minutes into this game, and there is a spectacular setup to the first goal of the game. Sebastian Dreossi starts the sequence on a giveaway at midfield, and 4 pinpoint passes later, the ball's in the back of the net. Diego Rubio is playing that true target 9 for Austin FC. He's leads the team in goals. He came in with 2 goals, tied with everybody, with 3 other players to go in. And Diego Rubio buries one off the low on the far left post, just hits a worm burner, screams it past him. And, the assist by Jadir O'Brien was just magical. Really, really crisp passing. They were all 4 one-time passes, and it's in the back of the net. There was no chance for the keeper for the Galaxy. And, honestly, it was one of the best plays we've seen all season. But in the 19th minute, a great tackle changes possession to Austin, and Alex Ring places a beauty of a pass behind the high sitting backs of the Galaxy. The Galaxy had pushed all the way up to the midfield line on this play, trying to keep that ball deep inside of Austin FC's half. And there's just a beauty of an overhead ball, similar to what Leicester City was doing when they won the Premier League about 4 or 5 years ago, that first year in. Just a beauty of an overhead ball. And Jadir O'Brien takes it about 40 yards at a full sprint. John McCarthy comes out, and O'Brien just buries one, just rifles it to the far side. And it's 20 minutes in, and it's 2-0 Austin. McCarthy just had no chance on this thing. He made a good effort at it, but at the speed that thing was coming in, and just a clean breakaway. And if you played soccer and you're looking at a clean breakaway, there's nothing better as just looking at that goalkeeper and he has no idea what you're doing. and just rifling it wherever you want. You're not obstructed by any defense or anything like that, and you should bury that. And he just did. And so now we're 20 minutes in, and for the first time, only the second time all season, not only does Austin FC have a goal, which is only the second time, now they have two. And so now the Galaxy is really behind the 8 ball on this one, and they're really gonna have to get after it to get back into this game and really play strong if they're looking for a win. In the 45th minute, Ricky Pooch just hammers a shot from about 30 yards out, and Austin keeper Stuver goes full Superman. This thing is amazing, and he saves it with his left hand. It's going to that far right post, and Stuver just makes a heck of a save. Ricky Pooch looks to the sky. He's crying in his Cheerios because he hasn't gotten that goal. 59th minute, the Galaxy are again begging for an offside call when they try to slow down but the whistle never comes. They think it's, four different guys put up their hand, and Dreusi gets a great look from 6 yards out, and McCarthy just makes a heck of a save. Keeps this game a 2-0 game, and easily it could have been 3-0. And again, another little editorial opinion on this one. The referee is not going to make that call because you as a defender put up your hand. He's looking at one thing and one thing only when there's a potential offside call, and that's his assistant referee, right? No one likes the referees, but they don't care. They just don't. They're worried about doing their job, and their job is to make sure that this game is officiated in a great and well played manner. And they did. You look back at that replay, Dreusi is clearly onside in that manner, gets a great look on goal. And McCarthy, he's not raising his hand. McCarthy is continuing to play, and he makes a great save, one of the best saves of the night. And with that, the LA Galaxy, there's not a whole lot going on in the rest of this game. It's some back and forth. There's a couple shots here and there, but Austin FC really takes care of business, and they end up winning this game 2-0. It's only it's the first time all season the Galaxy have been held without a goal. Nobody's gotten a clean sheet on them. And Ricky Pooch did pick up a yellow card in this game, so he's not able to play because of the MLS sanctioning body has indicated that if you get 5 yellow cards over the course of the games, that you have to sit out for yellow card accumulation. So while Ricky Pooch can't play next, in this next coming up game, he will be there on the sidelines. He will be encouraging his team, but he won't be able to come out. Um, Even with the loss, LA Galaxy hold a 4-2-1 record against Austin FC. Austin FC is a newer team to the league. They haven't been around that long, but they still command a 4-2-1 record against Austin. Um, the LA Galaxy are coming up, and they're going to be playing this weekend. They are on the road up in Seattle. The Galaxy are 2-1 over the last 3 games versus Seattle, and they're going to be playing up at Lumen Field. So we're looking to have the Galaxy go up there and light up the Sounders. So with the Galaxy, they're still at the top of the table, right at the top of the table of the Western Conference. They're playing quite well. They're just not always on it every game. And it's hard to be on it every game when you're playing at this high a level. But they played a strong game. Austin FC just came out and really shut these guys down, really played a well-mannered defensive game. They knew what the Galaxy were doing. They knew what they were going to be up against. And the Austin FC just put the wood to them. So check out the Galaxy this weekend against the Seattle Sounders, and it's going to be a really good time. So with that, we've got our first guest of the day. And we're going to move on to the Empire Strikers of the Major Arena Soccer League, the highest level of professional indoor soccer in the world. We are thrilled to have joining us a man who just completed his first season with the Strikers as one of the very few veterans on the team, having previously been a key member of the Baltimore Blast, Utica City FC. Welcome to Soccer in 60, Quentin Swift.
Am I connected?
We can hear you. We just can't see you yet. You're still in the dark. Kind of like what happens after Chihuahua scores a goal.
I'm trying to figure this out. How do we do it? The cam.
Well, I can hear you, and that's half the battle, right?
Huh. Yeah. I guess I
The
should.
sound is great. So we got that going for us.
I guess I should have practiced using this before I got in here.
Hey, it's okay, Quentin. You know, we're not all T guys, and heck, you're not. You're a professional soccer player, so we'll give you a little bit of little
Let me see if I could leave and come back real quick.
Or we could just do it with sound only if that's cool with you.
That's fine with me. That's fine.
All right, cool. Then let's do sound only today. You know, I apologize to the streaming viewers that you're going to have to sit with me, but at least we can hear Q do the interview today. How are you today, sir?
I'm good. Got a workout in and did some little errands and stuff. Now I'm just cooking and relaxing for the rest of the day.
Oh, fantastic. A little higher protein diet for you even in the off season?
Yes, sir. A little bit of extra weightlifting now that I have the time, but yeah, for sure.
Oh, fantastic. So the off season's been treating you pretty well, yeah?
Oh, I mean, since the season, I'm getting up there in age, and year by year, you kind of learn that you gotta take a little break. So, I've definitely had a lot of rest time. I've been able to get back out on the field, play a little bit of 11s here and there, get some, little bit of running and stuff. But I feel good.
Very nice. Now, are you back home in Connecticut?
Yes, sir. I just got back here last week.
Oh, nice. How's the weather been out there? Not too hot and muggy yet, is it?
Oh no, this is perfect.
Oh, that's
maybe,
great.
Maybe not better than California. That's why I'm coming back. But
well,
a little cool breeze in the morning doesn't hurt. So.
Oh, that's perfect to go run in, right? You can't have to be 80.
Oh yeah, it's like 75, 80.
Yeah. Now I'm sure you were watching the MASL playoffs. Were you able to catch any of the Savage and Comets finals over the past few days?
Yeah. I mean, I think going throughout the whole playoffs, once you saw Monterrey kind of fall out, you're kind of like, okay, it might be Chihuahuas for the tape. Nobody else, can take them down. And it's tough to travel to Chihuahua, and, they kind of proved it again. It's a tough place to go to and win games. So, yeah, I mean, they deserve it. I mean, I don't know how many individuals they had in all of the stats categories, or even if they had guys in the best 6 or the second best 6, but they still end up winning it. You know what I mean? So credit to them.
Yeah, you get a lot more. If you get a lot more balanced scoring, you don't have to kind of lean on one person. I know that with you guys with the Strikers, you're kind of leaning kind of heavy on Marco Fabian. But you're right with the Savage not needing to have one guy, get a hat trick every night or put in 10 goals in 10 games.
For sure. No, I always said, playing against Chihuahua this year, especially, like they might have had individually, man for man, maybe a more dangerous team in some ways last year, but just they move the ball well, they defend well as a team, they press well as you know what I mean. So all those little details as a group, they're very good, and it shows that they can go ahead and win back-to-back championships just from doing, the little things right. That's good to watch.
Yeah, I found it super fascinating. The exact same thing that you just said is what I was paying attention to during, especially that second game. They're doing a lot of those, the shorter passes. They're playing more off the wall. They're just a little bit more defined defensively, right? And when you put that together with a very strong, 2-3 lines of front forwards, it just makes for a much stronger overall game. Yeah.
Yeah, they're an annoying team to play against for sure. But you can't say they don't deserve it, really. So
No, and I looked at that and the way they were able to come back in uh, both the first game down by 3 goals and then down by 2 goals twice in the second game really showed just that they not only had the stamina, they had the wherewithal to say, yeah, it's cool. We're only down by a couple of goals. We're back in this
team for
without
you.
too much,
That's a championship team for you, and that's indoor soccer. 2-3 down,
right?
2-3 goals is nothing. You know.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about before you became a pro. You played some collegiate soccer in Connecticut, and then you moved into Baltimore. What was it like moving from Connecticut into the sunny confines of Southern California?
So just from always playing here on the East Coast, you're always used to the snow. At a certain point of the year, it starts to get cold, and at the beginning point of those outdoor seasons, it's still cold, so you're doing a lot of your outdoor training, and it still might be a little snow and stuff like that. So, um, I would say just the biggest thing was being in California during those winter months when year after year I'm used to looking outside, seeing snow, or after going to training or the gym, and it's just straight back to my apartment because you can't really be outside. My first experience in California with the weather, I mean, it's unbelievable. It kind of makes you look at life a little bit differently when you're getting hit with sunlight that much out of the year. And so for a part of the year where I'm used to being kind of inside, being reserved, and just kind of just contained to my own area, it was refreshing being in California, and it got me on the hook. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, that's great. Well, we're excited to keep you here in the Inland Empire for a long time, man.
For
Um,
sure, for sure.
Now, have you? I noticed. Have you done a little bit of coaching back out at University of Hartford?
Yes, sir. So I coached for 4 seasons after I was done playing there. I took a gap year. I trained a little bit with the team, and my coach saw that I naturally kind of will help guys in certain situations, and so they brought me onto the staff, and I was lucky enough to get 4 years paid Division I men's soccer in Connecticut, and yeah, so the school transitioned to Division III, so that's kind of part of the reason why I wasn't able to keep the job, and I guess it worked out in the end because I ended up getting traded to California, so I wouldn't have been able to really keep it either way. But yeah, no, 4 years of Division I men's soccer, assistant coach.
That's fantastic. Now, so from a coach's perspective, let's talk about the upcoming season a little bit. What are some of the specifics do you think that your team can build on to improve have you guys just be better this coming season?
I think one thing's for sure is everybody getting experience from last year, defending angles and understanding a certain game situations will be better. So
Mhm.
it won't be such a learning curve. It'll be more of just a snap back into a rhythm. I think as a group for us to go forward and just push off of this past season, I think you have to look at the defensive stuff first.
Mhm.
I've always said, like, if you can defend, you can win. So if you can
Perfect.
stop the other team from really scoring, then you'll be all right. So I think defensively, we just kind of have to figure out how to limit other teams' opportunities, and then I think our team has enough in it to create chances and go score goals.
That's
Um,
awesome.
Obviously, as you play together more and more, the ideas of what to do in certain situations become a little easier. But I think we lock in defensively and doing everything right defensively. The offensive will provide because the games will be there for us to win at that point.
Perfect. Hey, Quentin Q, we really appreciate you hopping on with us today. You've given us some great perspective both on the playoffs and on the upcoming season for the Empire Strikers. We're happy to have you be part of the team, man. Thanks for hopping on to Soccer in 60 with us today.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
All right. We'll look forward to talking with you maybe again over the summer, buddy.
For sure. All right.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Awesome. What a good dude, right? He's one of the solid veterans of the team, and I think his perspective is going to be really, really good for the coming year. Uh, And with that, we have one of the indoor soccer legends of the game. We're bringing him on today as more of an analyst of the MASL playoffs. We have Coach Paul Wright. Coach, how are you today?
Hey, I'm great, guys. Thanks for having me again. It's great to hear Q too. He's definitely a corner piece of what we're trying to be doing, what we're going to be doing for the future.
Yeah, I think just with his strong, he's got some of that coaching acumen to him. He's just got a strong acumen about the game. He's been around for a few years. I think he's really going to be a stalwart for the team this coming season.
Yeah, he's definitely filling that role. I think a year under his belt, coming to a new team, I think it took him a while to get comfortable and get his voice and have his voice. But towards the end of the season, you can definitely tell that he has another level of thinking and understanding of the game. So yeah, it's going to be great.
Fantastic. Now, Coach, we've all been keeping up with the playoffs. How do you and Q mentioned it, the Savage really earned that. They were deserving winners of the Ron Newman Cup this year. How was it watching those playoffs and seeing the Savage come back time and time again?
It was great. The level, the whole level of all the teams. It was such a high level playoffs this year. A lot of close games. The competition level was really high. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. They deserved it. Nothing taking, not taking anything away from those guys. But I think myself and some of the other coaches, we kind of agree they had a longer preseason than everybody else. And I think that we're going to try to emulate that coming up next season. I think it definitely paid off for them having a little longer preseason than everybody else this year. They were gelling from the get go.
Yeah, looking at that, saying gelling from the get go, I think that's one of the things that the more successful teams, especially when you have so many players moving from outdoor to indoor, getting a few extra games, get a few extra reps, as it were, under your belt really will help the team long term.
Yeah, definitely. But that was kind of part of the plan. It was going to take a year to get these guys comfortable, and then a whole off season, and then a longer preseason. And yeah, I think you'll see the difference next year.
Cool. Now, you starred in several massive games, right, in your playing career. With so much drama in both legs of the final series, can you provide us some insight on what it feels like for the guys on the field?
it's pretty it's pretty wild. The crowd's wild. The intensity is so high. Just the focus level has to be so on point when you're in those games. And I'm just hoping all my guys were watching watching these playoffs, and you can kind of get a sense of just how intense the intensity that you have to bring to those type of games, and the focus that you have to bring to those type of games. So yeah, I think we all learned a lot from watching that. And obviously, like you said, I've been through a lot of those myself as a player. But it's on this side of it now. I was kind of watching more of a coaching perspective and looking at the adjustments and things like that the coaches were doing. And yeah, some great coaching going on in the playoffs also.
Yeah, that's great. So there was a ton of people had their money on Monterey going all the way and taking down everybody, Savage, everybody in the league at going, undefeated in the season. What's your take on Milwaukee upsetting them, and what little things did Milwaukee do that really took it to Monterey and had them win that series?
Yeah, I think they just had a bunch of, like, their heart. I got to give them credit. They didn't win it all. They didn't get out of their conference. But just for me, watching that group, it's such a tight knit group, and they just played well together as a unit. They all knew what they were doing beforehand, and again, some great coaching adjustments. That they made during the game. And yeah, that six attacker is something else when they pull. I was like, why don't they play like that the whole game? But yeah, it's something else, and I think you can see even when we pull our six attacker, it's just a huge advantage, for teams, when you're able to do that and have some cohesion and players that understand where to go, and it's really hard for a team to defend with that extra player. So, but no, all credit to those guys, to knock off, that team that was undefeated. Again, I lost some money too on that. I would have thought that was going all the way to the finals too, but much mad props to those guys.
Oh, yeah. So, how's your off season been going? I see you've been working out a little bit more, getting back into the gym on a more frequent basis, but how's it been? Are you getting out there scouting a bunch of new players for the coming season?
Yeah, I've been, well, just kind of caught up with watching the playoffs, making sure I'm tuning into that and seeing how that went. Got to see the Chihuahua Sockers, that series here, because obviously that's close by. So that was interesting to see how that all unfolded. And yeah, just kind of looking at some players around the league and how they may or may not fit into what we're doing here. But no, just keeping my eyes and ears open, and having conversations with other coaches, and this is the busy time for the off season, and really trying to bolster our roster a little bit, and seeing what's available out there.
Hey, that's great, Coach. Hey, we really appreciate you hopping on today. I know that you're a busy guy. You've got a lot going on. So we really appreciate you joining us today. Thanks so much and have a great rest of the off season. We'll catch you soon.
Hey, anytime. Talk to you guys soon. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach. Uh, you know, Paul Wright's analysis of the MASL playoffs is so important because having been in so many of those games and understanding his perspective, and then when he's watching somebody like the Chihuahua Savage or the Kansas City Comets, I'm sure he's there taking notes and, stealing a whole bunch of stuff because as a player, you don't see that perspective. And then Quentin even said it too. You get a little bit different perspective when you have that coach's mindset. Just like me, I've got that ref mindset. You see things that the other the other teams on the field don't see. So thanks again to Paul Wright, this week's guest analyst for the MASL playoffs. Let's move on to Angel City. Angel City is playing the Kansas City Current. They had just played them a month ago in Kansas City, and they were looking for a little bit different result this time out. Kansas City is at the top of the table in the NWSL. They are a solid looking team, and came into this matchup 4-0-1, 17 goals for, best in the NWSL by a wide margin. Uh, Angel City comes in at 2-2-1 and on a two-game winning streak, so they found a little bit of a stride. Claire Emsley and several of the other players, Sydney LaRue, they're coming into their stride. They're gelling with the team, and that's, as we just heard, it's one of the biggest things that's going to make a team be strong throughout the season. Kennedy Fuller, like I said, Claire Emsley, Sydney LaRue, like I had mentioned, Kennedy Fuller make up the front three of a much more attacking 3-4-3 lineup coming into this game. Sarah Gordon, again, more history for the Angel City Football Club. She's making, with the start, she's now made her 100th appearance for the NWSL as a league wide player. Coming in with 100 appearances, you don't get that every day. Not too many players in this league have 100 appearances. So it was a big day for Sarah Gordon. In the 12th minute, Spencer is coming down the right side and has Emsley and LaRue with her, and she sends it to Emsley, who gives it right back, and from 9 yards out, takes a one-timer to the far post, and Adrian Franch, the goalkeeper, makes a diving right-hand save to keep it 0-0. If you look at this highlight, I mean, this is a heck of a shot, and to have Franch get on it and keep that out of the net to keep it 0-0 in front of a home crowd was really, really was great. Um, they've got several more chances. Angel City does in the next 3 minutes. They've got 2, 3 shots or goal, and they just can't convert. Um, and then in the 34th minute, Thompson pulls the defense wide and makes a great cutback pass to Claire Emsley. She's in full stride, makes a quick move on Stein Ballisiger of the Kansas City Current, and she just hammers a left-footed shot from 6 yards out to the far side netting, and Branch has no chance on it at this point. So we're 34 minutes in, and Emsley has got her third goal in the last 2 games, her fourth of the season, and Angel City is up 1-0. Um, Throughout this entire game, as you're watching it, you're seeing Emsley. She's left-footed, but one of the things that she's learned and coaches teach every day in practice and in training is to get to use both feet. And a little later on, about the 40th minute, she puts in a great right-footed cross from about 40 yards out, and it doesn't get a head on it, and it doesn't convert into a goal. But you can see that she is very well prepared with both feet, and to have players of this quality be able to use both their feet at a very high level is super fun to watch as a referee, because it throws the defense off. And so when they're looking for you to stay on your left foot and you can use your right foot, it will create 40% more scoring opportunities for your team. In the 54th minute, Vanessa DiBernardo, who has played great for the Kansas City this season, gets one from distance and puts it into the upper 90, and it's now tied 1-1. The goal was spectacular. The lead up to it was kind of bounced around, so I'm not giving a whole bunch of lead up to it as to perfect passings. It was just at the top of the box, and she put this ball in the upper 90 from about 25 yards out. In the 60th minute, Angel City's Kennedy Fuller hits a shot from 22 yards out that clangs right off the crossbar. And the midfielder has been playing really, the forward has been playing really, really well. She's still new to the game. She's still working up to the speed, but it's clear that she's really got her feet under. And to put that much power behind a shot at 22 yards was really nice to see. And then things start to change around the 63rd minute. The game's really tight. It's really back and forth. And then Claire Lavogues from Kansas City comes on, and she's a midfielder, and she subs on for a forward, Zanerato, not only for some fresh legs, but also to give a little bit more oomph to that midfield. And normally when a midfielder comes on for a forward, it's more of a defensive type of play. Not in this case. Claire comes on, and she's felt immediately with a couple of shots within the first 10 minutes of her being on the pitch. And then as we're getting tight, as we're getting down towards the end of the game, she makes a fantastic run as Dabinia of the Kansas City Current deftly passes to Rodriguez, who drills across to Lavogue, and it's the tip drill. It's right in the middle of the 6-yard box, and Claire buries it, and magically it's 2-1. Angel City is kind of reeling from this goal, and Claire hops up and down with all of her buddies and then runs right back to it, because just 3 minutes later, Chawinga, who is one of the forwards on Kansas City and is brilliantly fast. She has got to be the fastest person in this league. She runs right through a couple of defense, pulls away at 30 yards out, gets to the 6-yard box, and chips the ball in on goal. There's a little bit of a fracas, and guess who's on the end of it? Claire Lavogue gets on the end of it, puts her hip to it, and it's 3-1. It was a very strong game for both teams, and Kansas City showed why they're at the top of the table. They're getting goals from everywhere on the field. Um, Kansas City kicks off the weekend again on Friday night. This time it's up in Sandy, Utah, and they are playing the Utah Royals. And if Utah sounds familiar to the NWSL fans out there, it's because the Kansas City Current are the current team of the former iteration of Utah. The Utah Royals have come back into the league this year. They were restarted at the end of 2023, and this is their first season back into it. They're playing up in Sandy, Utah, which is a beautiful place. If you've never been, you should make sure that you get to Sandy, Utah, or at least see pictures of it. It's absolutely stunning. And Utah is currently 1-4-1 in the on the table, and Angel City is 2-3-1 now. And they're going to kick off the game again. It's going to be on Bally Sports this week, but it is that Friday night kickoff game. So 6:30 Pacific, and make sure you tune in. It'll be a fun one. Utah's got a good team, and Angel City, even though they lost to KC this weekend, they should come out flying against Utah. With that, let's go on to our other team here in the greater Los Angeles area. We've got the Orange County Soccer Club, and they're looking to get back into the win column after a tough weekend. And they're at home. They were at home this weekend versus Monterey Bay. Orange County comes in at 3-3-1 in the table, and Monterey Bay is playing really well, and they came in at 4-2-1. So they were a couple of points higher than Orange County, and it was ready to be a game right out of the box, because in literally the 4th minute, Thomas Among has a glorious chance as a sweet cross fools everyone, and the only thing between him and the goal is the warm Irvine air. Alas, he does his the ball is mishit and it goes wide left. And the frustration on Thomas's face is soon wiped away, because only 2 minutes later, um, Owen Lambie is on the cross, and he puts in a 35-yard cross. It goes deep outside the left post, and Ashish Chadha is on the redirect, and he clicks it back in, and Thomas Among is right on the 6-yard box, and it's fantastic. He plants his right foot at a 90-degree angle from his body, because the rest of his body is facing due north and his foot is facing due south. He turns on this and volleys this ball out of the air, and the goalkeeper for Monterey Bay has no idea what happened, and then he's picking the ball out of the net. It was just a brilliant, brilliant goal on Thomas. And if you've ever seen somebody smile with their entire body, that's what Thomas Among just did as he's running back with all of his players who are trying to catch up to congratulate him. And he's got ear to ear. His whole body looks just totally relaxed after, just 2 minutes later, missing the glorious opportunity. But now he's made amends for himself, and he gets back in, and it was just really, really fun to see. In the 20th minute, Colin Shuttler, who came back into the starting lineup after missing a couple of games due to a slight knock to his back, he looked great. And again, in the 20th minute, he's in great form and makes a solid save off a Trista Traeger header from Monterey Bay. And an interesting fact about Tristan Traeger is that he's a local kid out of San Clemente. So here's a shout out to San Clemente High School. Go Tritons. Just don't beat those Marina Vikings too often, all right? A few minutes later, Shuttler comes up again. He's strong on a Kai Green header that hits off the left post. And there's 2 Monterey Bay players right there, and Shuttler just grabs it away from both of them, keeps it out of the net, and keeps that a 1-0 game. It was a really, really spirited first half. We had talked about Orange County being a little flat, and they were not flat at any point in this game. There was a lot of running. There was a lot of hustling, and no pass and no shot was uncontended. Getting into the 73rd minute, Cameron Dunbar takes a Lasky cross, puts the ball over the crossbar, denying the insurance marker that they're looking for. But the effort is still there. They're still getting into it. They still want to make it 2-0. They still want to make it 3-0. And they're playing great. And they're really, really focused. There was no kind of lackadaisical running back. Then in the 82nd minute, there is a brilliant 4-on-2 break, which you don't see very much in soccer. And it's a great breakaway all the way from midfield. And it looks promising. Kyle Scott moves left to the center of the pitch when he's on the ball. Just brilliant. The defense moves over. The defense has to. He's got the ball. And he makes a deft left pass, threads it over, and back of the net, Ethan Zubak just buries this thing off a Cameron Dunbar cross. So Scott to Dunbar to Zubak, and it's 2-0. We're getting right on it. And there's another set piece in the 88th minute that looks really promising for Orange County. It's snuffed out, but one of the best all-around games that I've seen Orange County play all season long. And I've watched every game. I mean, it's really, really fun to see these guys come up. Orange County is off this weekend, but they do play on Tuesday, May 7th at home against Luton United FC. It's the round of 32 for the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, and they have special unis for this game. They've got they're really, really taking the Lamar Hunt Open Cup seriously this year. It's the first time they've gone into the round of 32, and it's going to be super fun. So get out there, support Orange County, and just have a really, really good time with it. It's going to be a fun game. I had mentioned that there's a really fun story about Ron Newman and why the MASL playoffs are called the Fight for the Ron Newman Cup. Ron Newman was a legend in the North American Soccer League, in a couple of different indoor soccer leagues. And there is a fantastic story. Ron Newman was known for his humor. He was known for making light of most situations. And there's a great story. It was when he was coaching Fort Lauderdale Strikers in the old North American Soccer League. They had a great season in 1977, and they were terrible start in 1978. So at one of their home games, they brought out a hearse, and there was a whole funeral procession coming out to the middle of the field. And they pull out a coffin in the middle of the field, in middle of 7,700 fans that were all baffled, not knowing what's going on. Ron Newman pops out of the coffin, screams, "We're not dead yet." And the 7,700 people in the stands just went absolutely berserk. They went out and beat the LA Aztecs that day 2-1, and they ended up making the semifinals of the playoffs that season. So you want to learn about why MASL calls it the Ron Newman Cup. He was a fun guy, and he was a legend on the indoor game. Let's hop over a little bit of there's some drama over in the Bundesliga this year. It's whether or not Bayern Leverkusen can continue their unbeaten streak. They play Eintracht Frankfurt this weekend, and if you know anything about Eintracht Frankfurt, there may or may not be a very famous player for the Empire Strikers that used to play for them. And they're currently at a 47-game unbeaten streak. 31 games this season, 16 of last season. They've dethroned Bayern Munich as the champions of the Bundesliga, but there's still a lot of drama to be had. So let's take a look at that. They're going to play Eintracht. Eintracht's in the middle of the table, and Leverkusen beat them back in December and beat them pretty handily at home, 3-0. They're going to be at Eintracht this weekend, but it should serve up some drama. And then there's also a nice fight for fourth from last in the Bundesliga as well, keeping teams out of demotion, who gets to stay up, and we're actually going to have some details on that in the coming weeks with we have a man on the streets, as it were, that's actually in Germany now, that's going to give us a up close and personal interview about that fight for fourth from last. Um, Leverkusen also had a great win at Roma today in the Europa League semis, and Leverkusen is clearly, they've got the coaching right, they've got the team right, and they are gelling fantastically. Um, we've got some UEFA Champions League. You know, we had some couple of great games with Borussia Dortmund beating Paris Saint-Germain a week ago, 1-0. And then we had that fantastic tie um, with with Bayern Munich and God, I'm losing it. I don't have it in my notes right now. Where'd it go? Um, Real Madrid. Sorry, I knew it was here. I found it. um, but we've talked about Bayern Munich several weeks ago about, you know, what was happening. They had lost three. You know, they had lost a game to somebody that was at the bottom of the table, and uh, oh, and we were talking about Bayern and what was going to happen with that, and uh, I said that Bayern was going to be fine, and here they are. They're tied 2-2 in the semis. They're looking to make a statement, and even with the coach that is on the chopping block, they're one win away from going to the finals. So, hey, we appreciated it. We appreciated Q coming on. We appreciated Paul Wright coming in and doing some analysis on the MSL playoffs. I've been your host. It's been Soccer in 60. Thanks for streaming us. Thanks for listening on the radio on KMET. Soccer in 60 I'm your host, Tim Kolas. We'll catch you next week.